If you are on food stamp benefits, I have great news. Two separate federal judges have ordered the Trump administration to distribute November food stamps. If you remember, food stamps were supposed to end today, October the 31st, because of the government shutdown, and millions of Americans, including seniors, were going to be denied critical food stamp benefits that they needed. And so states sued the federal government, and two separate judges have ruled today that the Trump administration must issue November food stamps without delay. So stay with me through this video. I'm going to walk you through three things. Number one, I'm going to tell you how we got here. Number two, we're going to walk through what the rulings say and when you can expect your food stamps to be deposited, because there's going to be a little bit of delay while the government gets their systems together to send you your needed food stamps. And then finally, I'm going to talk about who is going to be affected by all of this. My name is Wami Quad. I am a government benefits expert for 15 years. I've been helping seniors get the retirement benefits they deserve. I create content on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and other personal finance topics that affect seniors and their retirement and benefits. So, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Do me a quick favor. Go into the comment section and let me know your city and your state. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, especially yesterday when I mentioned that a federal judge was not convinced that the Trump administration was acting lawfully by denying millions of people, including seniors, their food stamps benefit. If you watched yesterday's video, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. So let's jump right into it. So I am going to just review the headlines first. This is from Business Insider. Two federal judges rule that the Trump administration has to keep sending out SNAP benefits despite the shutdown. And then let's go to the New York Times. The New York Times also just released news about it. It says, a federal judge in Rhode Island orders the Trump administration to pay SNAP benefits during the shutdown. And then finally, I have another headline from NBC News with a different perspective on this. So let me share that with you before we go into the details of what this is about. Here's NBC News breaking news. It says, federal judge orders Trump administration to pay benefits out of contingency fund. So let's read this NBC News article. So a Rhode Island federal judge on Friday ordered the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I want to make sure that you can see that, to distribute money owed to recipients of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program as soon as possible, just one day before funding for SNAP was set to lapse. U.S. District Judge John McConnell ruling from the bench came shortly after another federal judge in a separate case that the Trump administration's plan not to pay SNAP benefits beginning in November 1st due to the ongoing government shutdown was unlawful. And so let's go back to how we got here, because I want to read what the judges are saying separately about this issue. It's important to understand how we got here. So yesterday, if you watch my video from yesterday, I shared with you that states had taken the Trump administration to court because of this issue. So here it is. So here is CNN reporting on that yesterday. If I can get this ad out of the way, we can do that. So CNN was reporting on this, and it says that here's what the judge had to say yesterday. So it says right now, Congress has put money in an emergency fund for an emergency, and it's hard for me to understand how this isn't an emergency. So this is the federal judge talking to the administration and saying, you guys are saying you're not going to pay SNAP benefits, but there is an emergency fund that was created by Congress, and what is more of an emergency than a government shutdown? So basically, the administration was saying that the government shutdown was not an emergency, and the judge is saying, no, this is a classic and a definition of emergency if there was one. And so the judge was disagreeing with the administration, and the judge said they were going to rule today. They're going to rule today about the issue. But all indication was that after the hearing, if you listen to the transcripts of that hearing yesterday, you knew that the judge was going to rule in favor of sending SNAP benefits. So U.S. District Judge Ida Tawani said near the end of the hearing, referring to the SNAP benefits. Though the judge options vary, one possibility is that she issues an emergency order that essentially compels the administration to tap into the emergency fund. So that is exactly what has happened. So I'm going to take you back to the New York Times that has more details about this ruling and when you can expect your benefits. So the New York Times is saying a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to, on Friday, to continue paying for food stamps during the government shutdown, siding with local officials and nonprofits that has sought to spare millions of low-income Americans from losing benefits in a matter of days. It was the second of two rulings in a span of about an hour that found the administration has acted unlawfully after he had refused to tap into the emergency reserve enacted by Congress and tooing in billions of dollars to sustain the critical anti-HANA program. Now, it remained to be unclear if or when the food stamps would actually re-reach the roughly 42 million people who rely on monthly federal help to purchase groceries. It was also unclear how the exact amount will be received. Lawyers for the Trump administration had previously suggested it would take weeks to disperse benefits, and the Justice Department will still try to appeal the case, perhaps further delaying. So, where does this stand right now? The two judges are saying that the food stamp orders, like food stamps, must be issued. It was supposed to expire today. They must be issued for November. Now, let me walk you through a few procedures that need to happen before this can actually hit your EBC card. So the first thing you need to know is that the U.S. Department of Agriculture had ordered states not to issue food stamps. So that is an order that went out. And why is that important? Because there's preparation. There's preparation that needs to happen before food stamps are issued. And each state has a vendor that they use in order to distribute food stamps. So the USDA sent a letter to all the 50 states in the District of Columbia telling them do not send your information to the vendor to process food stamps for November. That was about 3 weeks ago. And so the states usually would have sent all the information of who needs to receive food stamps and how much. They would have sent that to the vendor, and then the vendor would then process the information. And then when your due date comes, they would distribute the money and deposit it into your EBT card. Well, because they were ordered not to do anything, there is nothing sitting there for you to get right now. And so, now that the judge has ordered the administration to issue November food stamps, they are now going to restart that process. Now, here is one thing I want to warn you about. The administration has been ordered, right, to distribute food stamps. And as the two judges have ordered them to do it, the question is, are they going to do it? And that is a big question that nobody knows because this administration has shown that sometimes it may or may not follow judges' orders depending on what it is. And so we don't know. We don't know whether they're going to follow the judge's order or not. But my hope is that if two federal judges have issued an order to the government to issue food stamps, my hunch is that they're going to follow the order. And I also think that there's pressure on Congress to do something. And so stay with me. I'm going to share with you the backup plan, okay? There is a backup plan I'm going to share with you right now so that you understand that regardless of what happens, it's my opinion that November food stamp benefits will be issued. And I'm going to tell you two reasons why. So there is a bill that was introduced in Congress, I think today or yesterday, that by Senator Josh Hawley and some GOP senators. And so let me share that with you so that you can see that in addition to the judge's order, there is also movement in Congress to do this. So here it is. So I want to make sure that you can see this. But before we go any further, I know there's a lot going on right now, and it's hard to keep up with. If you want to stay informed about everything that's happening in the news, both in and out of Congress, then join my text club. Text the word insider to 443-293-0080. You will be added to my text club. It's free of charge, and then once or twice a week, I will send you a text message letting you know what's happening that could affect your benefits. Like today, I could have sent you a message right now telling you this has happened. And so text the word insider to the number you see on your screen, and you'll be added and joined thousands of seniors that have subscribed to this text messaging service and are getting text messages directly from me about things that could affect their retirement, their benefits, and their finances. All right, so I told you there are two reasons why I believe November food stamps are going to be issued. Now, the first one is what I call the backup plan, okay? So two senators have released a bill in the Senate backed by 10 Republican senators. So let's look at this. So 10 GOP senators co-sponsor Hawley's SNAP funding bill. Now, this is significant because these are Republican senators, 10 of them that are co-sponsoring a bill to continue the flow of SNAP benefits during the shutdown. Senator Josh Hawley is a Republican from Missouri, and he got 10 other Republican senators to join him to co-sponsor this bill. And so let's read what they have to say about this. So it says 10 GOP senators have signed to back Senator Josh Hawley's bill to fund the SNAP program as the government shutdown threatens a program lapse in November. So we have the senators from Oklahoma, James Langford, Lisa Murkowski, Suzanne Collins, Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, Brandon Marino of Ohio, Kevin Kramer of North Dakota, Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, Katie Britt of Alabama, and so on, 10 of them. And so it makes sense that Democrats will join. So Senator Peter Welch remains the sole Democrat in the upper chamber to co-sponsor the bill. So there's one Democrat that is sponsoring. So this is bipartisan, and it is called the Keep SNAP Funded Act of 2025, would fund the program for the states across the country until the nearly month-long shutdown ends, and the Department of Agriculture can receive its allotment through appropriations or stopgap measures. And here's what they have to say. There is no reason any of these residents of my state or any American who qualify for food assistance should go hungry. We can afford to help them, says Harley, who wrote a Tuesday op-ed in the New York Times. Preventing. Debilitating poverty through food programs cost only about a tenth of our annual defense budget, noting that the 1.2 million beneficiaries are veterans. So you can see that there is movement in the Senate to do this among Republicans. So I would not be surprised if Democrats join this, because this is one of the reasons why Democrats have been pushing the Trump administration to fund SNAP benefits. So that is the first reason. Okay, the second reason why I think SNAP benefits will be going out in November is because two judges, not just one. You know, sometimes they can say, oh, there's a rogue judge somewhere that issued an order trying to embarrass the administration. Two judges have come to the same conclusion that what the administration is doing is illegal. And so it is going to be very hard for the administration to then ignore that ruling and deny people their SNAP benefits because it's been ruled unlawful. Because they are saying the reason the administration said they were not going to be able to do it. They were saying that they don't have the legal authority to take the money out of the emergency fund. Even though during the first Trump administration in 2017, they did that. I think it was 2017 or 2019. There was a government shutdown under the first Trump administration, and they used money from the same emergency fund to fund SNAP benefits. But all of a sudden, they're saying that they don't have the legal authority to do it. And so their whole reasoning was that we did not have the legal authority to do this. Well, a federal judge, not just one, but two, have come out and said you do have the legal authority and you should go ahead and do it. And so that is the second reason why I believe that SNAP benefits will be issued in the month of November. So guys, in addition to all of this, there are 11 states that are already stepping up to help SNAP beneficiaries during this difficult season. So, I mentioned yesterday I've compiled a list of these states. You can see California, Colorado, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Mexico, New York, Vermont, and Virginia have all said they are going to help SNAP recipients. So even if what the government is doing, even if the judge's orders go through, even if the Senate passes the bill and the House passes that bill again, remember the House has been out of session for like almost a month. So even if the Senate passes that bill, the House has to come in and pass the same bill, and the president has to sign it. So it may take a week or two before all of this sorts itself out. So if you're out of food, pay attention to what I'm about to say. There are states that are issuing emergency orders to help SNAP recipients get through this season. And I'm telling you now that California, Colorado, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Mexico, New York, Vermont, and Virginia are there to help you. So if you live in one of these states, I'm going to tell you exactly what they are going to do for you in order to help you get through this season. If I cannot find it. But more states have joined. So yesterday I added a few more states. So if you watch my video from yesterday, you know that a few more states were added to the list, and Ohio is one of them. So Ohio, I'm going to share this with you. The governor of Ohio signed an executive order releasing more money to help citizens of that state. This is what that looks like. It says Ohio governor signed executive order for families relying on SNAP. And it's not just Ohio. Maryland, the state where I live, also issued an order yesterday to help SNAP recipients. I'm going to show you what the Maryland governor has to say. So here we go. It says Maryland emergency declaration to send $10 million to food banks amid looming halt to SNAP benefits. And then there is one more. I think the next one is Michigan. That also issued an order yesterday. DC, let's look at that. Washington, D.C. also issues something else. Let's see here. And they are even going further. So let's talk about that. So you can see, and they have the breaking news at the top. So you can see that the breaking news that I'm just talking about. Judge orders Trump administration to use contingency funding for SNAP payments, but D.C. is to cover SNAP and weak benefits in November if the shutdown drags on. And then finally, Louisiana is also helping out. So I'm saying all this to say that here is what's going to happen. The judge's orders are going to go through. If the House and the Senate also decide to write legislation to push this through, the good news is that SNAP benefits are going to be paid in November. The not so good news is that it may not be immediate. So if you're expecting something on November 1st, it's not going to happen. It might take a week, it might take 10 days, it might take 2 weeks. So in the meantime, pay attention to your local food banks. Pay attention to your state directive, because the governors are issuing money to go directly to food banks that can distribute food assistance to those in need. So make sure that you are staying on top of local news that is affecting your state. And finally, before I let you go, I want to talk about Medicare. One of the things that has been happening is that we are in open enrollment season, and a lot of seniors have been trying to figure out what they're going to do for Medicare enrollment. And I am on a mission to help 100,000 seniors achieve peace of mind about Medicare. Why would I want to do that? Well, it's because you have earned the benefit, but getting the best out of it has been a challenge for a lot of seniors. That's why 90% of seniors are in the wrong Medicare plan. There are 24,000 Medicare plans out there, and my goal is to educate you about Medicare, help you with resources that can further enhance your understanding of your benefits, and then connect you to the best support. So if you look at the news lately, it looks like everything is coming undone with a lot of Medicare plans. Not a day goes by without some bad news about Advantage plans being dropped, hospitals dropping plans, original Medicare going through some changes where some states are now going to require pre-approval. One of the things that seniors used to love about original Medicare was that you didn't have to jump through all the hoops in order to get your benefits. And now, 6 states are going to go through a pilot where they're going to require pre-authorization. So my point is that there's a lot of news out there that can make it all overwhelming. Well, here's the thing. Our partner, Chapter Medicare, is there to help you. They offer free unbiased, and I want to emphasize that unbiased opinion to help you pick the right plan for you. So when you call Chapter today, 5392052147, I know it's Halloween, but they're still open. They will take your call. If you call them today and you can't get through, call during the weekend. You'll probably get through right away. But here's the point. Over 3,000 of our viewers have called Chapter for help and are achieving the peace of mind that I'm talking about, which is that before you say yes to a particular Medicare plan, this open enrollment, you owe it to yourself to make sure that it is the best plan for you, that you've compared all the plans that are available to you in your local area, and you are picking the plan that best fits your budget, best fits the provider networks that you need to be in, doctors, hospitals, etc., and that the prescription drug plan meets your needs. That is what I call peace of mind about Medicare. And 90% of seniors do not have that because they pick a plan and then there are surprises down the road. You want to avoid that, and Chapter is there to help you. So I'm going to put their number in the comments in the description. And also, if you rather they call you, then fill out the form at askchapter.orginsider.org/insider, and they will call you and help you achieve that peace of mind about Medicare that I've been talking about. So if you like what you heard, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I wanted to come on very quickly and break this news to you and let you know that November food stamps are going to be issued based on just what I said. So let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and I'll see you in another video tomorrow.